Well, we just have to continue to stand up and to fight and to put the pressure on the Republicans in the House and Senate, because what's happening here is wrong, and to the extent to which Republican governors are supporting and becoming a part of this entire crisis, that we make sure that they understand as well that they are going to put their own seats in jeopardy. I apologize, Steve. I got to run. Okay. Republicans are standing in lockstep with Donald Trump. That's the problem. They do whatever he wants, and even if they disagree with him, they sit in silence. And that's why people at the grassroots, students, activists have to stand up, raise their voices, and let them know that there's going to be a huge political price that they will have to pay. Sorry. Thank you. Appreciate it. How you doing? Okay, good. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, hi.
Just want to get your thoughts on, it's been a while since you and I were it's good to see you in the spirit.
Yeah, it is.
Tell us about what you're seeing here with the next generation.
Well, in the same way that on campuses there was an uprising for the same-sex marriage movement, for the civil rights movement, against the war in Vietnam, young people today are rising up against the dictatorial impulses of Donald Trump in sending in National Guard troops to occupy cities across our country that are majority-minority cities. And so that's what this is all about. It's recognizing the fundamentally racist attitude that Donald Trump is bringing to his policing, in quotes, of our nation's cities. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Democracy we all deserve. Hayden is also the Free DC Student Organization.
Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe!
Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe!
Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe!
Good morning. Today, students across DC college campuses are walking out to make 3 demands. And I want you to remember these demands, because when you go back to your friends and family, when you see them, when you speak with them, they should know why you walked out here on Red Square today. We should be able to clearly answer what our movement stands for, what Free DC as a campaign stands for. And first, to Georgetown administrators, we demand you do not comply with the Trump regime's attacks on our campuses. We demand you not comply with the Trump regime's attacks on marginalized communities, on critical program funding. You are not Columbia University. You are in the District of Columbia. So stand up and do not cooperate with ICE's illegal attacks on our campuses and our communities. So Georgetown, we demand non-cooperation. What do we demand?
Non-cooperation!
What do we demand?
Non-cooperation!
What do we demand?
Non-cooperation!
To Mayor Bowser. To Mayor Bowser, 1 week ago, you signed an executive order extending Trump's military occupation of D.C. until December. You have collaborated and you are complicit with Trump's terrorizing of black, brown, marginalized, immigrant, and low-income communities in D.C. Recaller. So, to Mayor Bowser, we demand you cease your collaboration with the Trump administration and his military occupation of D.C. We demand non-cooperation. What do we demand?
Non-cooperation.
What do we demand?
Non-cooperation.
What do we demand?
Non-cooperation.
Third, we make this demand of Congress. We demand tomorrow you vote to end DC's military occupation. We demand you vote on H.R. 51 to make DC a state. We demand that you defend home rule. What do we demand? That you defend home rule. What do we demand? That you defend home rule. You know, one of the things that we've learned as college students is that we exist in the context of so many student movements, from the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee to students in Bolivia, in Chile, in Serbia, who have risen up against autocrats, against despots and dictators, and demanded more just and inclusive democracy, demanded democracy that's determined by dignity and diversity, not despotism and despair. And that's what we're here to demand today. That democracy, that dignity can extend to DC, can extend to our college campuses. That we as students can have autonomy in our district and in the decision making of our education. And so, when you all go back to your families today, to your friends, when you tell them why you walked out, I want you to remember that today we are here to demand non-cooperation. Because when the textbooks of tomorrow look back on the institutions and their actions today, we need them to remember what light they'll cast them in. And so, even if those institutions fail us, we can always turn and trust each other and feel comforted in the knowledge that who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe.
Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe.
Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe.
Thank you all so much. It's been a pleasure being out here today.
When our rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When our rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When workers are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When workers are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back. From DC to Palestine. DC to Palestine. Occupation is a crime. Occupation is a crime. DC to Palestine. From DC to Palestine. Occupation is a crime. Occupation is a crime. Georgetown, Georgetown, we know you. Georgetown, Georgetown, we know you. You endanger workers too. You endanger workers too. Georgetown, Georgetown, we know you. Georgetown, Georgetown, we know you. You endanger workers too. You endanger workers too. Thank you, everyone.
I'm here today on behalf of the Georgetown Coalition for Workers' Rights, a student organization committed to ending the exploitation of labor at Georgetown and beyond. It is a privilege to be speaking before a group of people who recognize that Donald Trump's occupation of D.C. is a flailing attempt of a dying empire to intensify the surveillance of its people, to criminalize state-induced poverty, and to castrate the power of the working class. Many are calling this an unprecedented descent into fascism, although it is a new escalation, colonized and oppressed people of the world, from the American internal colony to the global south, could tell us that what we are seeing is not the exception, but the rule of American imperialism. I want to focus instead on a phenomenon that the Martiniquais poet and politician Aimé Césaire named in 1950 as the imperial boomerang. In his revolutionary essay, Discourse on Colonialism, Césaire writes the following words: "And then, one fine day, the bourgeoisie is awakened by a terrific boomerang effect. The Gestapos are busy, the prisons fill up, the torturous and they hope, and they hide the truth from themselves that it is barbarism, the supreme barbarism, the crowning barbarism that sums up all the daily barbarisms, that it is Nazism, yes, but that before they were its victims, they were its accomplices, that they tolerated that Nazism before it was inflicted on them, that they absolved it, shut their eyes to it, legitimized it, because until then, it had been applied only to non-European peoples. We stand in D.C., in the capital of what our government declares to be the most free, the most moral, the most democratic nation in the world, yet we lack political representation, and public spaces have become playgrounds for the ROTC, which was right over there. Shame! And our people are being terrorized and brutalized by almost 30 different police agencies that govern D.C. in what can only be described as barbarism. However, shame, as Césaire writes, before we were the victims of fascism, we in the West were its accomplices. The Metropolitan Police Department has strong ties with the State of Israel and has received training from the Israeli occupation forces, including a counterterrorism security training program, which an MPD officer called a preventative measure that MPD officers and DC residents benefit from. MPD uses the training and surveillance technology they receive from Israelis to target Black and brown community members, and ICE uses the very same tactics to arrest delivery drivers and service workers in D.C. The fact that there have been 140 Black people killed by D.C. police since 2013 using the training mechanisms of the IOF is the imperial boomerang in action. When we call for freedom from the occupation, from D.C. to Palestine, we must recognize that our liberation is meaningless without the liberation of the Palestinian people. As always, God must be our compass, and a world in which armed military troops stalk the streets is a mere fraction of what Palestinians living under Israeli occupation experience every minute of every hour. If we organize for freedom in D.C., we must understand that the federal occupation of D.C. is our being awakened by the terrific boomerang effect that Césaire first mentioned, which can be traced to the American-funded genocide of Gaza, to the first Raqqa in 1948, and to the Balfour Declaration made by the British government in 1917. We understand the federal takeover as a part of a larger systemic flaw, one bigger than any single politician. While much of the conversation around the federal occupation of D.C. has centered on restoring the power of the local government, the administration of our mayor, Muriel Bowser, laid the groundwork for the Trump administration. Last year, Democrats in City Hall passed the D.C. Secure Omnibus Crime Bill, which used the exact same justification of law and order to legalize our constant video surveillance under the pretense of eliminating crime. The local government, far before the federal occupation, expanded pretrial detention and cleared homeless encampments using inhumane measures. We cannot solely call for an end to federal occupation, but also for the end of the careers of politicians like Bowser, who profess to share priorities with the Trump administration and who have sold their souls and their civic obligation to their community for profit. If we refuse to accept the federal takeover of our streets, then we must also recognize that the liberal status quo in our city started the work of targeting Black and brown communities that Trump is now finishing. ICE rides alongside our local police, leading to a tenfold increase in the typical number of ICE arrests in the first 2 weeks of the federal occupation. The immigrants who are the moral and economic backbone of this city are the very first targets of militarization and surveillance. Just last Thursday, we saw at a Hyundai plant in Georgia that immigrant labor is precisely what the federal officers are after. As ICE agents brutalized 475 people working in a plant outside of Savannah, the majority of which were Korean immigrants, it is deliberate and barbaric war against the working people of this country. I wish to end this speech by speaking about the place where we currently stand at Georgetown University. Interim President Robert Groves proudly proclaims that the university would do the work of fascism for the federal government, protest last spring where GUPD dragged students out of Healy Hall for protesting the university's complicity in genocide. Yay! Not only does the mask ban endanger student protesters, infringe on personal liberties, and expose immunocompromised community members, but it is a distraction from the fact that our administration allowed federal agents to enter private university property and has refused to declare a sanctuary campus or protect its immigrant workers on temporary protective status. Yay! Georgetown is a corporation investing millions in genocide while exploiting its predominantly black and Latino labor force. While Georgetown likes to pretend that the repression stems only from the Trump administration's crackdown on immigrant populations, we know that this university has been infringing on the rights of its workers for decades. Shame! Nowhere is that more clear than in a recent decision announced by the university to cut the Georgetown University Transportation Shuttle, or GUTS buses. As a part of a string of decisions to bring in subcontractors to save money, the Georgetown administration, led by Chief Operating Officer David Green, is trying to eliminate all GUTS positions, forcing workers who have been driving for GUTS for decades to find alternate positions and accept pay cuts and precarious healthcare services because Georgetown claims it cannot afford to keep the fleet. Shame! In solidarity with the GUTS drivers, we have launched a petition demanding that the university refuse to subcontract the bus service and their flyers circulating with the CR code so that you too can raise the cry for justice for GUTS workers and sign the petition to protect GUTS. In the words of one GUTS bus driver, there's a certain kind of reputation that has more to do with morality, civic-mindedness. You're going to do this to us. You think you should still deserve to be called a civic-minded university that has Jesuit tradition? No. What happened to cura personalis? Where is that now? Georgetown has lost the right to be called a Jesuit institution, just as the United States has lost the right to be called a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Recognize the reparations of the imperial movement, and we must understand that liberation for the people of DC from federal occupation is meaningless without the liberation of all oppressed people around the world from the barbarism of capitalism and imperialism. As we fight for a free DC, we must fight for freedom for the workers at Georgetown and all over the world, because it is the endless pursuit of profit over people that necessitated this rally today. In light of all of this, we have three concrete demands if we wish to create a world, a city, and a university free from the barbarism that's in there described. We demand that Georgetown University declares a sanctuary campus and prohibits ICE and all other federal agents from entering any of its demands on civil liberties and erases the changes made this summer to the student code of conduct. The GUTS bus fleet and stop prioritizing profit over its workers. Thank you. Workers have all the power. Admin, you're all cowards. Admin, you're all cowards. The workers have all the power. I don't know what I've been told. I don't know what I've been told. The people here are mighty bold. The people here are mighty bold. There's one thing that's clear to me. The people here have unity. The people here have unity. Lies and threats will not divide. Lies and threats will not divide. The people standing side by side. The people standing side by side. One more time. I don't know what I've been told. I don't know what I've been told. The people here are mighty bold. The people here are mighty bold. There's one thing that's clear to me. There's one thing that's clear to me. The people here have unity. The people here have unity. Lies and threats will
occupation is merely a symptom of a greater disease. That disease is the U.S. Imperial Project. To protect ourselves or our community members, we need to understand this bigger picture. Under the guise of lowering crime, Donald Trump has ordered this federal occupation of D.C. to target Black and brown community members, further deploy ICE and DHS against our immigrant neighbors, and to quell dissent to his autocratic regime more broadly. However, for those of us with Gaza as our compass, we know that this is not a surprise. We see the exact same strategies being used by the Israeli occupation forces in occupied Palestine, and this is not a coincidence. The U.S. and the Zionist entity of Israel are interlinked politically, economically, and militarily through the shared use of surveillance technologies used to target marginalized populations, the arms shipments paid for by our so-called representatives, and the deadly information exchange between the IOF, ICE, and local police departments like NPD that are patrolling our streets right now. Shame! These police forces train together to brutalize us and occupy us and keep the masses at bay because they fear our collective power. However, we are not only being repressed at the district level, but at the university level as well. At the so-called congressional hearing on anti-Semitism, our disgraceful interim president, Robert Groves, capitulated to Donald Trump's fascist demands and the white supremacist and Zionist idioms. He openly bragged about his immediate rejection of the historic landslide divestment referendum win in the spring, doubling down on this university's complicity in the ongoing genocide of the Palestinians in Gaza that has killed over hundreds of thousands of people to this day. But President Groves didn't just stop there. He's even trying to curtail our ability to protest this same genocide by implementing a regressive mask ban that will undoubtedly be used to target students of color and to try to intimidate us into silence. But intimidated, we are not! What these cowards do not understand is that repression breeds resistance. And that is why we walked out today. We demand that Georgetown University end its capitulation to the fascist Trump regime by denying ICE, NPD, and all federal officers access to our campus. We demand that Georgetown University roll back its repressive policy changes, disclose all